The new issue of Slam magazine was out this week. Wemby's on the cover, and I got to write that. Cover story.
Congratulations!
I was so excited. It was like a genuine career highlight for me. I started reading Slam magazine in high school, so mid to late 90s. I didn't see whatever the first few issues were in real time because everything got to San Antonio a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But we were in a geometry class, and they were doing the thing where you finish class early, and the teacher's like, all right, it's like 6 minutes before the bell rings. You could do whatever you like. And this kid from his backpack pulled out this magazine.
Who was on the cover? You remember?
That I had never seen. It was Anthony Hardaway.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing a no-look behind the back pass around Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? But also on the cover, I don't remember exactly what the title was, what the story was called, but in big writing, it had Reggie Miller's name, Reggie Miller something. And I was like, oh my God, that's the guy who made me fall in love with basketball, right? So as soon as I saw his name, I was like, I got to see this magazine, and I'm flipping through it. And I was looking at it like the way that John Travolta is looking inside the briefcase in Pulp Fiction
with the golden light shining on you.
Yeah, I did. It was it was so many of the things that I loved all at once. And I'm just like, what is this? Where can I find it? How do I get it? It turned out they sold it at H-E-B, this grocery store here in San Antonio. And I got my grandma to buy me an issue. And just ever since then, it's like, that's my favorite magazine that has ever been in my hands. Reading it and seeing the name Scoop Jackson show up. Scoop. This was like pre-internet. I didn't have the internet at my house until college or something.
Scoop was like a superhero to me.
That's exactly right. I think he was the first writer that I was aware of, that I found on my own, which is always a very meaningful thing for a person who would eventually become a writer.
Yeah.
Even though I did not know that at the time. I just thought this name Scoop Jackson is cool. The way that he's writing this, I've not seen writing like this. This is fun.
Yeah, very voicey, very just voice. A lot of voice and style. It was cool.
Yeah, and so when they asked if I wanted to write that story, I was like, of course I want to write that story. And I wrote it and I turned it in to get edited. And the editor, this woman named Susan, she was also Scoop's editor. She edited his. Sick. I was like, that to me was as cool, if not cooler, than actually getting to write the cover. Susan Price Thomas is her full proper name. But man, I'm certain that you love Slam magazine as well. When did you start reading it?
Around the same time. I think the first Slam that and it was an early Slam, it might have been in the first run of Slam, was the John Starks on the cover.
Oh, where he's dunking it?
And the title was Stark Raving Mad.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. The thing about that time was I got all my NBA news from, I watched every Knicks game because I had MSG on my cable network, and I could watch the Nets also. And they were Derek Coleman, Kenny Anderson. They were fun at that time. I watched the Shaq destroying the stanchion live.
Yeah.
So I could watch those two teams and all the teams they played. But basically, I got my NBA news from Slam because I never saw West Coast teams unless they were playing the Knicks or the Nets. And Inside Stuff.
Inside Stuff with Ahmad Rashad.
With Ahmad Rashad and
my main man.
So Inside Stuff and Slam were big for me. I never heard of Allen Iverson, when he was playing in college, I had no idea about college. So this is the first time I heard about Allen Iverson, Damon Stoudemire. I thought Damon Stoudemire was going to be the greatest point guard ever. Anybody that was in Slam, I'm like,
exactly.
Oh, so this guy is going to be the greatest guy ever. Okay, Jerry Stackhouse, that's the next Jordan. I got it. Okay, David Stoudemire, that's the new Isaiah. Zoe, okay, that's my favorite Slam magazine covers were when they had all the young guys on the cover. I think the first one was Ready or Not, and it had all the dudes who were rookies in 96 or 97 on the cover, and Steve Nash is there. Those are my absolute favorite covers. Slam is the shit.
It's so good. They had a brief run where they redid Inside Stuff. It was Kristen Ledlow and Grant Hill, and that was good. Bring it back. It's such a good, fun show, especially when you're 12 years old to 16.
Yes.
It's like that's exactly how I want to consume basketball. And then it felt like Slam Magazine took over from there. I just want to read this, and I want to learn the Mortal Kombat fatalities from Electronic Gaming Monthly. That's all. That's all that I want. That's all that I want, and I'm feeling real good. Anyway, go buy the issue. Wimby on the cover. You want to start the show?
Let's start it.
Oh, but now we got to wait for the music to finish. Go ahead and play it out.
No, you can't criticize the music now.
Let this play. All right. Come on. Okay. Okay, there we go. You want to start the show?
Let's start the show.
From Wondery, I'm Shea Serrano.
And I'm Jason Concepcion.
And this is 6 Trophies.
Hello, I'm Jason Concepcion. Welcome to 6 Trophies, a podcast series hosted by myself and Shea Serrano. In it, we comb through all the NBA news from the past week and hand out 6 pop culture-themed trophies for 6 basketball-related activities. This episode, the Orlando Magic. They're good. Chris Paul versus Scott Foster.
Bad.
And Gregg Popovich would like you to be classy. All that and more. Let's hand out some trophies.
Are you supposed to salute with your right hand or your left hand?
I think it's the right. I don't want to speak out of turn here or steal any valor, but I believe it's the right.
And also, are you supposed to salute if you've never served in the military?
I think it's okay.
It's okay. Okay. We'll just keep doing it.
I think it's fine.
We did 2 sets of trophies, the big trophies and the little trophies. The big trophies are first. These ones are the same every week. First up, the Denzel Washington and Training Day Trophy, given out to whoever it is who had the best overall performance. This week's winner, the Orlando Magic.
Folks.
What?
7-game winning
streak.
Streak.
Oh my God.
Get on the train. Get on right now.
Get on the Cole Anthony train, baby.
Get on the Franz Wagner train. Get on the Moritz Wagner train. Get on the Joe Ingles jingling baby train. Get on the nasty Jalen Suggs playing with an edge. Getting on
I like them. They're second in the East. Second.
7-game winning streak. Here's the thing that's really, really fun about the Magic. We've talked about young teams, right? There's a lot of fun young teams in the league. The Thunder, the Pacers. The Pacers, they will put up a lot of points on you, but they'll also give up a lot of points. Here's the thing that I don't remember seeing this in a while. Like someone would have to maybe point out a team that's done this. Young teams don't usually play defense. This is the best defensive team in the league right now by defense.
Yeah. It's like they all figured out, hey, we're going to do this. This is going to be our thing. And they're doing the shit out of it.
That's great. 107.2 points per 100 possessions. Number 1 defensive team in the league. And you don't see young teams do that. And part of that is they're just physical and mean. Like Jalen Suggs, he almost got in a fight with Jokic last week. He's just nasty and mean. And they're getting into dudes' bodies. They have a tremendous size and athleticism. And man, they're legitimately good. Paolo Banchero's got like the body of like a guy that's been in the league for 8 years. They're just a good, strong, athletic, smart team.
He got a little game winner under his belt too. Like he's feeling confident.
Yeah.
So you got Paolo, you got Cole, they lead the league in Wagner's on the roster. They've got more Wagner's than everybody. That turns out that's the secret. They're, as you mentioned, a 7-game win streak. They've won 8 of their last 9. As we record this, their next 2 games are against the Wizards. So they're probably going to get to. They're probably going to get. They probably get to 9. 9-game win streak is the most ever they've had in Orlando Magic history. They're probably going to tie that. 8 of their last 9 games includes wins over the Celtics, over the Nuggets, and over the Bucks.
Those are huge.
You can see them getting more and more confident. You can see them now. They're at the point now where they're like, oh, we could just do this, right? Because they were terrible last year, and the year before that, they've been bad. They're
really taking the leap. Their last loss was against the Nets, which is like they they kind of took their guys out early, and then the Nets got hot and put their guys back in a little too late. But man, and they're doing this with no one averaging more than 20.
Yeah,
they're doing this purely through defense. They're just like a hard-nosed defensive team. And I think in this era that we're in, where there's like 40 guys averaging 20 in the league right now, like there's everybody's scoring, to have a defensive personality this early in your evolution, I think this is a dangerous team. And as a fan of the Knicks, who I think certainly are in that like B tier of Eastern Conference teams after, the Celtics, Philly, and the Bucks, it worries me. I'm concerned because this is a team all of a sudden that could they be the 4th seed in the East? I think they could. I think they very clearly could be right there.
I'm going to jump back in time a little bit. There was a play, I feel like it was in 2021-ish, where Wendell Carter dunked on Giannis. They were playing in Orlando. It was like a fast break, and he got an and one dunk on a fast break on Giannis, right?
I think he could feel his presence. Went down, right down the lane. On top of Giannis and the foul. Big fella.
And this is, at this point, the Magic were one of the worst teams in the league. They were like, I don't know exactly the record, 6-29 or something like that, 7-20. It was not great, but they're playing this game. Wendell Carter Jr. gets a big dunk on Giannis, a big and one dunk. And immediately the camera cuts to the bench, and Cole Anthony is out. Jalen Suggs is out. They both are out with injuries. But Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs are in a full-on hug, like hugging each other and jumping like in celebration and spinning in a circle together, celebrating this big dunk that Wendell Carter had. And I just remember watching that and being like, man, it's got to be so hard to like keep up your enthusiasm when you're on a team that's not playing great. But they're doing it here. So if they ever get good, if they ever like get a hold of things, they could be a problem. And you're starting to see it here. Like that's a scary team to see them walk into your building because they feel like right now they can beat everybody. That's not to say that they're going to win a championship, but they're feeling right now like it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the ball. We got a chance. And when a team does that and they like each other and they play defense, it gets a little scary.
Now, here's the caveats. One, this is a thing that happens.
Don't worry about that part. Don't worry about that.
I get it. But like, especially with teams that, lean on defense like this, I think the Knicks kind of fall under this category from a couple years ago. They are taking people by surprise right now because, to your point, everybody's like, oh, the Magic, they suck, right? Like I remember them sucking for a while. And so they're certainly sneaking up on teams. And I think like that Jokic play against Suggs, they're not ready for the physicality. So I think once the scouting reports catch up, we may see a correction, but this is just really fun right now. They're just really fun. And to your point, like they're in that perfect Goldilocks zone where it's like they're young and there's no responsibilities on their shoulders. There's no expectations of playoffs. There's no expectations of championships. It's just like, how good can they be? And because we're still assessing, like, is Bankara, like they have several guys who are clearly foundational, but like who's the star? It's unclear kind of still. So they're just in that perfect place where they can just play. There's no expectations weighing them down. And they're just sneaking up on teams who are maybe thinking, oh, the Magic? Yeah, it's fine. We can look past that one. That's a W. Pencil that in.
And they also have this thing where, when the playoffs start, you get to spend a little more time with the team. And they're like, oh, the Boston Celtics, the coach watches fucking The Town 17 times a week or whatever. Like you start to learn stuff like that, right? Yeah. Like you have to have those in there. For the Magic, there was like a little story that came out about how they have like a bell in practice that gets rung whenever a player makes a hustle play. And so like that's like a fun little thing. And then you're seeing it on the court right now. They rank 4th in charges taken, 3rd in deflections, 3rd in defensive loose balls recovered. Like that's a thing that they've all have bought into. And when that happens, I like it. I like it.
Is that assistant coach Pavlov's idea to ring a bell every time something good happens?
Yes. It works, man. It works. It's working.
It's great.
I want them to ring the bell during a game when somebody does it. Just like,
hey, big bell.
If you can light the beam, ring the bell. Ring the bell. That's your thing. That's your thing. Next trophy. The Lauryn Hill, you might win some, but you just lost one trophy. Given out to whoever it is who had the worst performance. This week's winner, the Chris Paul-Scott Foster feud.
Man.
I don't like it. It's pretty bad.
I'll just say this. We're all losing now. I know everybody. I get it. We are the podcast that said refs, it should be legal to chase refs to their locker room. We are the podcast that said that. But I think it's time. This has been going on long enough. Like, if you heard Chris's statement after this game, so Chris got ejected from a game for arguing a call with Scott Foster that was, it was the correct call. But they have, Scott and Chris have a history that goes back a decade plus. Chris Paul's record in Scott Foster games is like something like 3-17 in the playoffs. And after the game, Chris said, "Hey, it's personal. It has something to do with my son." And the league brought my dad and my son and me to a meeting in which we talked about it, and everybody knows it's personal, yada, yada, yada. I'll just say this. Chris Paul's talking about holding a grudge, and yet he is also talking about an event from 10 years ago. And I feel like everybody needs to look in the mirror at this point. Because you can go and find the lip reading closed caption version of their little back and forth. And I gotta say, honestly, it feels like Chris has as much to do with that exchange as Scott does. Because he was remaining on Scott's ass for that entire exchange. And I don't know. I think everybody needs to chill out. And I will also say, I feel like part of this is the Warriors in general. There's a lot of angst coming from that team. And a lot of it is like, we're old and we're not as good as we used to be. There's a perception from that team that people are taking shots at us. And I think it falls under that too. Like, I'm not saying Scott is in the right, because a lot of people have complained about Scott. But I also think Chris needs to maybe just take stock of his own responsibility regarding this, because it's just a bad look for everybody. Either fight, like you guys should just fight.
Fight.
Or stop. What are your thoughts?
I think I lean the other way here. I think this is on Scott Foster. When you're the person in charge of making the calls that can get a player thrown out of the game, if you're like, I'm going to just get you out of this game right now to help prove my point, I'm going to just get you out of the game. I'm going to tee you up. I'm going to call the foul. I'm going to do it. Like, that can't happen. It just can't happen. It doesn't matter. I don't care what the other person is saying to you. If you're the person in charge of that, you can't do that. You just can't do it. You mentioned 3-17 in playoff games. Playoff games officiated by Scott Foster. Chris Paul is 3-17. In the other games where he isn't officiated, 73-56. He's 73-56.
Playoff games?
Yeah.
Let me just say that part of that is Scott Foster is perceived by the league and by the refs as one of their better refs for reasons that escape me. So he ends up playing like the crucial game 5, reffing the crucial game 5, the crucial game 6, game 7, in which I think we can acknowledge, right? Chris Paul, not good in those games. Through no particular effect of Scott Foster. Like, I think Chris, his body often fails him, yada, yada, yada. All I'm saying is there's context to take with the 3-17 number. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying it's all Chris, but I'm also saying it's not all Scott.
It's 95% Scott, 5% Chris.
Okay.
I'm gonna go there, because let's assume Chris Paul is telling the truth about Scott Foster having said something about his son. And if that's the case, if this person did say something about your son, I think it's perfectly fine for you to hate that person for the rest of your life. I think you're well within your right to hate that person forever, right? And every time you see that person, you're like, hey, by the way, fuck you. Every single time.
I agree with that.
That's fine.
I will just state a few other things. One, when Chris talked about that situation, like he was asked, when a reporter asked, like, okay, but we don't know about that. What is that? And he was like, I'm not going to talk about it. But you are talking about it. So just tell us what it is. Because this whole you
just want to know. You're just messy.
Fill in
the blanks.
Messy. Yeah, I want to know. Fucking, you're already talking about it. So just talk about it and stop talking about, I don't want to get fined. What the fuck do you care? You've made $450 million over your career. You put rules in the CBA as president of the union that would allow older players like yourself to make more money than ever. So just like spend a little money and tell us what's happening. Okay?
Spend somebody else's money for him, Jason. What's wrong with you?
Spend a little bit of money and tell us what that's about.
On the video feed underneath Jason right now, extremely pro referee. Please put that up there.
No. I'm just saying here, and here's my last point on this. I think we have a lot of evidence that both Chris Paul and Scott Foster are abrasive people, like both of them. Like Chris Paul is feuded with every fucking teammate he's ever had. Every teammate he's ever had was like, I hate that guy. The guy's like telling me what to do all the time. He's so annoying. Like, stop. And I just feel like it's like one of those things where, are you sure you guys don't like this? Are you sure you guys don't enjoy this? Are you sure like you don't enjoy fighting? Because you keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like you keep coming back to the well. Why do you keep interacting with each other if you don't like it? That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. All right. We disagree on this one.
All right.
Next trophy. The Dominic Toretto, I live my life a quarter mile at a time trophy. Given out to a person whose team had made a short-term decision with no regard for future consequence. This week's winner, Gregg Popovich, telling the fans not to boo. Zuri, can you play the clip here of Gregg Popovich in the middle of a game, taking the in-game microphone and just talking to the entire stadium?
Can we stop all the booing, let these guys play? It's got no class, it's not who we are. Knock off the booing.
Knock off the booing. That's Gregg Popovich. The Clippers are in town. Kawhi Leonard is on the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard has a sordid history with the Spurs. He
sordid. It's just like a regular history.
Yeah, it's fine. He played for the Spurs for 7 seasons. He won a championship for us. He won Finals MVP, and then the relationship deteriorated, and he wanted to be traded, so he got sent away to Toronto for a season before eventually ending up where he wanted to be, which was with the Los Angeles Clippers in his hometown. With regard to Coach Pop telling the crowd not to boo, firstly, this is a thing that he has maintained from the very beginning of the process, right? Early on. In 2019, the Toronto Raptors come to San Antonio to play a game here. Kawhi Leonard very easily could have sat the game out. He could have been like, oh, my thigh hurts. I'm out. That would have been, everybody would have been like, yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
But he thigh hurts.
But he doesn't. He plays in the game. And every time he touches the ball, San Antonio boos him like crazy. Just boos him like crazy. I was watching the game on TV. It was a big night in San Antonio. It's like a nationally televised game. I was watching the game at home, and I'm booing at the TV with the stadium. It's so much fun to boo somebody, right?
It is so fun.
It's so fun to boo. We boo him. And then when the game was over, Coach Pop and Kawhi Leonard give each other a hug. They say something to each other, and then they separate. And then afterward, in the post-game stuff, Coach Pop was like, all right, he came, he played, we booed him. It's over. It's done. We're done. Right? He was very clearly, for the last couple of years now, like, all right, it's over with. We got the chance. We booed him. Move on with it. And I guess he's just fed up now because it keeps on happening. Every time Kawhi happens to wander through San Antonio, he gets booed. And again, booing is super fun, but you got to get over it. At this point, you got to get over it. What kind of dork are you that you're not over this?
This is another category which we're gonna disagree a little bit, because I'll just say, like, Pop's the GOAT, man. He's the greatest
basketball coach of all time.
I agree with that.
Tell Phil Jackson to sit down.
Yeah, I also feel like, small market pressures. You wanna create this brand of a team that is welcoming, that honors the great players who have played there, that you get a certain kind of relationship with your team, with your coach that you're not going to get if you play in LA, Chicago, New York, Brooklyn, whatever. That said, I'm classless. I have no fucking class. And I fucking love to boo. I love to boo. I love to say shit.
It's great.
Not within reason. And I think fans deserve, it's a crazy world out there. Fans deserve a little break from being classy. You're classy in your regular life all the time. And I think you should be able to go to a game and just be fucking classless.
I think it's fine. I think you should be able to boo. Yes, boo, go crazy, go nuts, boo. I think you should also be able to be like, all right, get over it. Like both of these things can happen at the same time. He can be annoyed with it. The funny part is he does this and everybody just booed louder. They just continued. They continued to boo. The wrinkle here, the interesting part, for me anyway, is that there are situations where a player is booed repeatedly, right? We were talking about Reggie Miller in the Open. Reggie Miller in the Knicks. Every time he went into New York, he was booed. When he got booed, that felt like, even watching it on TV, even hearing them talk about it today, that felt like a two-way relationship. That felt like the fans are going to boo you. They're going to not like you, but they're going to respect the way that you play the game, or the results anyway. And you're going to enjoy being booed. You're going to enjoy being the villain. San Antonio had a version of this in the early 2000s when Kobe would show up. We would boo the heck out of Kobe all the time, every time he touched the ball. And it felt like he was in on it with us. I'm going to come to San Antonio. I'm going to hit some big shots. I'm going to break your heart in the playoffs. And in exchange, you're going to boo me. And I'm going to understand that you're booing me because I'm killing your team right now, right? There's that version of booing. This version of booing, though, there has never been like this is not going back and forth. This is one side leaning on the other side. You know what I mean?
I agree. It's listen, the Knicks a season and a half ago, right? MSG was booing Julius Randle, who's not playing well, playing disinterestedly over several games, and the Knicks weren't playing well either. And he gave the thumbs. He gave a thumbs down to the fans. And I think you could say, like, surely, like, it's probably not great to boo your own player, your star player. It's unwise. It's not great for the relationship. It's, and then Julius showing his displeasure is absolutely fair to show your displeasure with the thumbs down. And he's having a great game at that particular time, which is a reference to the New York Mets doing a similar gesture. At the same time, while it wasn't wise for the fans to boo their star player, I don't know, fuck it. It's great.
Every once in a while, sure.
Have done that. Sure. They shouldn't have done that, and they shouldn't do that still. But it does feel good. And sometimes, like, there's so very few places in the world where you could just do something that feels good. You can just let that toxic energy out, and it feels good, and then you can walk away from it. And I want to fight for the right of fans to be, in a respectful way, classless bums.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. On occasion. All right, next trophy. The Daniel Plainview, I've abandoned my child, I've abandoned my boy trophy, which is given out to player or team we're temporarily giving up on for the week.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
Yeah, I've abandoned my boy! Oh, God. So cathartic. This week's winner, the weird Cavs court that has a 10-inch rise in it.
Yeah,
what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Step down off the court. The Heat's Drew Smith, injured his knee.
Yeah.
It seems
sprained his ACL
from the court. And the Heat have complained. LeBron James has complained. And I think other teams surely feel the same way. Your court's too high, Cleveland. Stop it. So apparently there's ice under the court, right? For the hockey games there. Mm-hmm. And then there's a gap between the rubber-covered ice and the court of about 10 inches, so the court doesn't get cold, because that's also a problem. You've seen that happen in other arenas where there's condensation on the court. That becomes dangerous because the floor is too close to the ice. That said, it's too weird to step down off the court when you're on the sidelines. Like, you're coming in off the sidelines to the court, and then you have to step up. And if players are diving off the floor, it's just very dangerous. It's bad.
Get it out of here. We're giving up on it. Fix it. We don't like it.
Very little else to say. A guy's already hurt his knee. Like, well, we don't want to see this anymore.
No. Do something. There's got to be a way. There's got
to be something.
Figure it out.
Raise the rest of the floor. I don't know, but get NASA. Something. Yeah.
Get somebody in here to figure out. Put another rubber pad down or something. Who knows? I don't know. But
there's 29 other teams that don't have this problem. So
you're the only one. You're the only one.
Come on, guys.
You're the only one.
Figure it out.
Next trophy, the Chief Keef. That's that shit I don't like trophy, which is given out to a player or team or a thing. We don't like it. I don't like it. We don't like it. This week's winner, LeBron James, being older than not only one coach, but several coaches in the league. He's older than them. And I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel.
He doesn't like it either. Wait, Zuri, if you have the clip, please play the clip of LeBron discovering that he's older than Will Hardy.
I'm older than who?
The Utah head coach.
I'm older than head coach? Oh, wow.
I just had to.
My goodness.
Next question.
No, my goodness. It don't even matter. That's a good one, right? That's a good one.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel.
I feel like, don't bring this up. Like,
no, don't say it. Don't say it out loud.
Don't say it out loud. He's working as hard as he's the best player on his team at his age. It's insane. He's working so hard, raising a family. Don't mention this to him. You're going to throw his whole week off.
Just some numbers for you. But he's the best ever old player that we've ever had. And like right now, in his 21st season, he's averaging still over 25 points per game.
It's nuts. It's wild.
Over 25, which is so much further than anybody. And nobody has ever averaged more than 7.4 points per game in their 21st NBA season. Vince Carter did that in 2019. Dirk did it also that same season. Like LeBron it's unbelievable what he's doing. And still, when they mentioned to him that he was older than the coach, it reminded me of when you watch an award show and they would do, we're going to bring out from 20 years ago, whatever the big song was. And that person comes and you're watching them perform it and you're like, you remember when you were 17. Yeah. Like, oh my God. Oh God, I'm going to die one day. That's the first thing I thought.
I hate
when I saw the clip. Oh God, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
They bring out, occasionally they'll be like, hey, this is the Nirvana Nevermind baby now. And it's like a 30-year-old person.
Yeah, right?
I'm just like,
oh my God.
I'm like, God, stop. Wait, don't do this anymore. Or then like rookies are in the league and it's like, oh, they were born in like 2009. You're just like, wait a second. They didn't even, they were like a baby when Obama was the president? What? Stop it. Stop reminding us that we're mortal. Don't do that anymore.
We're going to die one day and it's going to suck. That. I wonder what my last words are going to be.
What do you want it to be?
I have often joked that when I die, what I want to have happen, I want to be like in the hospital bed. I don't want my death to be a surprise. I don't want that. I don't, unless it's like I get attacked by a shark. Like I died saving a kid from a shark attack. Like that would be cool, right? But I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I think what's going to happen is my heart is just going to explode in my chest from having eaten 40,000 tortillas over the course of my life. That's what I think is going to happen. But what I want my last words to be is I want to be in the bed. I want to be laying in the hospital bed, and my family's all gathered around because the doctors have made the call. They're like, he's on the way out. Get up here. And Laramie is there with me, and she's like holding my hand. She's an old woman,
right?
And I'm there, and I'm like gesturing for her to come closer so that she can hear my final words. And she leans in. She leans in close with her like, yes, babe. With her ear by my mouth, and then very like softly, but very confidently, I just want to be like, you never had me. You never had your car. And then I'm out of there. And then I'm done. If those were my last words, oh my God.
Your little cracked lips, your lips so dry.
Yeah, right.
You know, like and your hands are like just like tissue paper, like with your last strength, you like put your hand on top of her hand. You never had your car.
Yeah. And then I'm out.
She goes, and then she says, she turns to the boys, they're there with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, was that a Fast and the Furious reference? What was that?
And then the credits roll.
And then you just hear, and the doctors are rushing in, and she's just going, no, don't worry about it. That's good.
No, he did it.
Yeah,
Leave him.
let
He's fine.
it go. Let it go. Don't bring it back after that.
You want to do the little trophies?
Yes, I do.
Let's
No,
do
wait,
the
we have
little
one
trophies.
more. We have one more.
Oh, God.
Boo him, Zuri.
What?
Boo Shea Serrano.
No, hold on. Zuri, will you play Gregg Popovich? Will you play the Gregg Popovich clip, please?
Can we stop all the booing and let these guys play? It's got no class. It's not who we are. Knock off the booing.
I
Knock
told
off
you
the
I'm
booing,
classless,
Jason.
Greg. All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Popovich. I'm sorry, Mr.
All right.
Popovich.
One more trophy. One more big trophy. The Step Brothers Catalina Wine Mixer Trophy. Given out to the thing we're most excited about for the upcoming week. This week's winner. We are so excited for someone to explain to us who's going to Vegas for the in-season tournament because we have no idea what is going on.
So the final night of group play, I believe, is this Tuesday night.
Yeah, baby.
And here are some of the clinching scenarios from the NBA's in-season tournament tracker. Charlotte clinches wild card if Charlotte wins, plus Cleveland loses, plus Miami loses, plus Boston loses. This is legit. Plus Brooklyn lost, and Charlotte finishes second place in the group and wins the tiebreaker over any second place team from any other group. That is emblematic of all the possible scenarios that you can find on the NBA's in-season
like
tournament
Dr.
tracker
Strange
page. And folks, it's just too fucking much. I just want to find out what happens because there's too many scenarios. There's too many different wrinkles to the formulas. Whenever you have more than two pluses, like Charlotte loss plus Cleveland loss, it's too much. Just figure it out and tell us what happens. That's all.
Last week, I was watching the in-season tournament games, and they're fun. Like they feel different now. They feel like a different. When you see that court, when you see that terrible court, you're like, oh, it's going to be a little more intense.
Hey.
It's going to be a little more fun. I was very excited last week watching it. It was good tournament games.
Shouts to my New York Knicks for a huge and important group play comeback against the toughest, hardest working, most nasty team in the league, the Miami Heat. It was an important win, and it just goes to show you those New York Knicks understand the importance of those group play points because they do something later on. I don't know what, but they do
We
something.
don't know what. Someone's just going to show up and be like, these are the teams that are going, and everyone's going to go, all right, cool. And that's it. It's impossible to, it's like parsing tax law. Like you just
really
lost.
is.
You just have
It really
no
is.
idea. No idea.
And here's another one. I'll just give you another one. Here is how Cleveland can clinch a wild card. What's the wild card mean? I don't know. Okay. Here, a Cleveland victory plus a New York Knicks loss plus a Miami loss plus a Boston loss plus a Brooklyn loss, or there's one more scenario.
Or
Cleveland victory and wins the tiebreaker over any second place team from the other group with a 3-1 record. What?
Okay, I got it. I got it. I'm good. I understand it.
Shea, famously, like when they first put the Hubble telescope. Do you remember that in the late 90s? They put the Hubble telescope up. And then there was real blurry, and these brilliant NASA scientists were like, "What happened? Oh, the decimal point. We didn't correct for like metric or whatever the thing is." The people who create the NBA tournaments and who run the NBA are very, 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 very smart, but they're also like not NASA scientists, and humans are fallible. And I really feel like if you have this many wrinkles, at some point, somebody's not going to carry the one or put the decimal in the wrong place. And we're going to find out that the wrong team got into the knockoff stages. And
slide the Spurs in there, baby.
Happen.
Slide the Spurs in there. That's my only hope. That's my only hope. Okay, now let's do the little trophies.
Yeah, let's do it.
These ones change each week and are situation specific. They're for the smaller storylines that we want to mention but don't need to get all the way into. My first little trophy, the Denzel and Remember the Titans. I run 6 plays, split veers like Novocaine. Just give it time, it always works. Trophy.
Well, I run 6 plays, split veers like Novocaine. Just give it time, always works.
To the Sacramento Kings, who ran the same play 17 times in the second half of their game against the Timberwolves. I'm a big fan. I love it. You're going to get this De'Aaron Fox attack, this high double pick and roll, and I'm going to fucking take your head off every single time until you stop it. We're going to run it until you stop it. What a great strategy. Not enough teams do this. Not enough teams figure out.
Just run it forever?
One play. We're going to run this until you stop it. You can't stop it. I play, we've talked about this before. I play Smash Bros. with my youngest son. And he plays with a character from Animal Crossing. And she has a net that she just like catches you in and then throws you. And he does that shit to me 45 times every game. And if we're playing on a level where you can like throw a person off of the edge, that's what he does. And I can't stop it. There's nothing I don't know how to defend it. And so he just keeps on doing it to me. I'm a big fan of what's happening out there in Sacramento. Keep running that same play over and over again until they stop it.
Here's my first little trophy. It is the Jordan Belfort. I'm going to let you in on a secret about these telephones. They're not going to dial themselves trophy.
I'm going to let you on a little secret about these telephones. They're not going to dial themselves.
To the fan who told Jalen Brunson during that aforementioned in-season tournament group play win against the Heat, a 21-point comeback sparked by Jalen Brunson, to the fan who told Jalen that this is embarrassing when they were losing. After the game, Jalen, did the little post-game hit on the court and was asked, like, what spurred the comeback? And he said, honestly, a fan looked at me in my eye over here and said, this is embarrassing, so I'll say him. And on the NBA, on ESPN's Instagram account, they have like the text exchange of this fan somehow. And here's the text exchange contemporaneous with apparently him telling Jalen that this is embarrassing. During while the Knicks are still down double digits, the text exchange goes, Jalen got mad at me. This is the fan to whoever he's talking to. I told him this is embarrassing. He said, what do you want me to do about it? And then said, don't be that guy. LOL. To which I would say, hey, Jalen, these phones aren't going to dial themselves. You got to get out there and do it. And he did. So shouts to the fan and shouts to the Jalen.
My second little trophy. The Domino in Deadpool. Luck is not a superpower. We are so fucked. No, we most certainly are not fucked trophy.
Luck is not a superpower. We are so fucked.
No, we most certainly are not fucked.
To the guy who hit a 19-leg same game parlay that turned a $166 bet into nearly $1 million. Nearly $1 million.
That's nuts.
That's crazy. Have you ever won a big bet? I've only ever lost.
There's no worse feeling for me than losing money gambling. I just am like, why did I do that? I could have got like fries. I could have got a hot dog. I could have got like 2 pizzas. I could have watched a movie. Like, why did I do that? So I always, when I bet like 25 cents. Like I'm out here on FanDuel winning like $2.10 when I win. My next little trophy is the Drake last name ever, first name greatest trophy.
Last name ever, first name greatest.
2, the Washington Wizards, currently on pace for the worst defensive rating of all time. 121 points per 100 possessions given up by the absolutely dreadful Washington Wizards, currently 2-14. And big news tonight. We're recording this on Monday morning. So by the time you hear this game will be over and you will know the result of what I like to call the champion shit. It is the 2-14 Washington Wizards versus the 2-14 Detroit Pistons. What the fuck? Guys, you can't be the worst ever. You're bad, but don't be the worst ever. Come on.
Only one team can be the worst ever. Don't be that team. You could be any other team. Don't be that team. Yeah. Don't be the worst ever. My last little trophy, the Jay-Z Don't Be the Next Contestant on That Summer Jam Screen trophy.
Don't be the next contestant on that Summer Jam screen.
To SGA.
Oh, man.
To SGA for posting a highlight video of himself setting Steph Curry's head on fire for multiple plays in their game against the Warriors. Just posting that on Instagram. Here you go. Now everybody, when they play against SGA, they're gonna be like, fuck, I hope he doesn't, I don't want to be on his Instagram. Don't be the next contestant on SGA's Instagram screen.
I love it because, again, it falls under the category of nobody's scared of the Warriors anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, they're just big game hunting when the Warriors
Yeah.
My final little trophy is the James King Working on My Trash Talk trophy.
Fuck you. Fuck. Cock. Shit. Hey, back off. You better get those tits out of my face or I'll show you my tits.
What are you doing?
Working on my trash talk.
To James Dolan, who we've talked about the really, really bizarre lawsuit that MSG has filed against the Raptors because allegedly one of their former assistant coaches, who now is an assistant coach for the Raptors, stole, it is alleged, proprietary material, which is just like, here's what we were doing over there. I don't know. And the result of this is James Dolan, who now is riding high from the Sphere, is talking extremely reckless about Adam Silver and others, and has now resigned his seat on the board of the NBA's decision-making committee. He has, I guess, given the power of voting to a deputy, and he is talking wild stuff. Here he is, as part of this memo that he wrote to Adam Silver. Quote, this is James Dolan. Given all that has occurred lately, I have come to the conclusion that the NBA neither needs nor wants my opinion. This is a guy who, for the last 25 years, everybody has been like, sell the team, we fucking hate you. And it is only now in 2023 that James Dolan is like, wait a second. Do people not want my opinion? Hold on a second. James Dolan continues. My hope is that the Knicks will be treated equally and fairly as all other NBA teams. As you know, I am very busy with all my duties at MSG family of companies. I need to apply my time where I could be the most productive. What a fucking, okay. Hardworking guy. And anyway, whatever. James Dolan, enjoy your award because your trash talk was about as effective as James King's.
I always forget that you're a New Yorker until you start talking about James Dolan. And then I'm like, man, he does not like
enough,
this.
Enough with this guy.
Like, we did it again, Jason.
Yay!
Another perfect episode. Can't believe it. 8 for 8.
Let's
8
go,
for 8 from the field, baby.
Yeah.
We close every episode just by saying the names of underappreciated old basketball players with no context at all, while the theme music carries us out. Zuri, will you start the theme music, please? Yeah. I'm Shea Serrano. That's Jason Concepcion. Yeah. Producer Zuri in the shadows making the noises. See y'all next Wednesday. Luke Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
I've been waiting to say this one. Sundiata Games.
Ooh, I like it. Jeff McInnes.
Ekpe Udo.
Ira Newble.
Damari Carroll.
Oh, I like that one. Sasha Pavlovich.
Ooh. Gennaro Pargo. I haven't thought about him in a minute. Yeah.
Little Parks. DeJuan Wagner.
Oh, man. I thought he was going to be a star. Jeremy Tyler.
Drew Gooden.
Ish